Hey guys, thanks for being here. We have Sadie, who's one of my favorite clients, and I will tell you why, is because she went from over 80 hours a week to 40 hours a week. And not only that, but has increased her profit by $13,000 a month. So we've got Sadie here. Thank you for being here. Let's dive into this a little bit. So tell me about where life was and like what things were like before we started working together.
Before we started working together, which has been what, 8 months now, um, I was in burnout mode. I was looking at my lease being up in less than a year and walking away, not even trying to sell it, walking away.
Yeah.
Working too many hours, nothing seemed to be going right. Profit wasn't working. Um, Bottom line was always red. And yeah, that's where I was.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that call. I remember you being at home at that time and just being like, this is like my last chance. Like I can't do this anymore." I remember that. That was there's some tough conversations around that time.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so mentally, emotionally, physically, where did you find yourself? Like what kind of toll was that also taking on your personal life as well?
Um, I had no personal life. And at that moment, my mother had come to live with me because she was having health issues, and I was not having time for her. I wasn't having time for me. So um, yeah, it was really hard on my health, on her health, and my personal life. So
Yeah.
it wasn't, it was honestly taking the toll out on the employees rather than
Yeah.
more than me.
Yeah, and that's such a stressful place to be because it's like you can't focus where you need to focus because this other thing is taking up all your time, and it's like, well, what do you do? And yeah, you just couldn't continue like that anymore. I totally get that. And so let's flash forward a little bit to where we sit today. So here we are, like you said, about 8 months later. What are some of the big things that changed? What are some of the wins? What's life like for you right now?
Um, the big thing was you gave me permission not to have to work 80 hours a week.
Okay.
And now I've cut that back to 40. I'm able to take my mom to her doctor's appointments. I'm able to focus on myself when I need to focus on myself. Um, so I'm a little calmer. I'm a lot happier, and have a lot more time for the things that I like to do, including having gone on a week-long vacation and left my store to my employees. So
Amazing, amazing. Now,
yeah.
and what you're saying too is you're working less, but tell me also about how things are functioning, even though you're not there as much.
Um, my team works as a team. They are all happy working as a team and not conflicting. They and like you said at the beginning of this, my profit's gone up. My prime cost was at 90% when we started, and it is getting down to 55%, which when you told me that it was possible, I really honestly didn't believe you that it was possible.
Nobody ever believes me. I don't know why that is. They're like, no, that's not possible. There's no way that's happening until it happens. Oh my God. Yeah. Preach, preach. So okay, so profit has went up because your prime classes went down. You're working less, but the business is functioning better. You had mentioned that your manager is now stepping up and doing more of the things. So just altogether, everything seems to be functioning much better. It's like you're kind of firing on all cylinders. Would that make sense?
That totally makes sense. It's like how you always envision a restaurant or a bakery should run
Yeah.
when you first start.
Yeah, no, and I love that because now, if I'm not mistaken, going into some of your busy seasons and going into some of the holidays and things like that as a bakery, which your big times, you've been able to plan for that much better than in the past, which was kind of sounding like a little bit of like disaster time before. Is that fair to say?
It We used to always describe it as controlled chaos, yeah. And now it's controlled and planned.
Yeah,
And not only plan, but like setting goals, right?
Yes, that was absolutely amazing, was to set the goals.
Yeah,
yeah.
between sales and just how many products you wanted to sell, which is awesome.
Yeah, we never really thought about that. We'd always end it and go, oh, cool, we made more than we did last year. But never really go, this is what we want to reach.
Yeah. And it's so
Yeah.
funny because as a business owner, you're actually in control of those things. Whereas most restaurant and bakery owners that I talk to feel like the world controls them and their business controls them and not the other way around. We actually get to decide how much money comes in. We decide how much profit we have. We decide how much we work. But most people don't know how to do that. And I'm so proud to see you in your journey and be able to do that. Like I love this. So I want to turn this over to Camille for a second, because Camille has been working directly with Sadie through this time. So Camille, give me a kind of a snapshot of what are some of the biggest things you've seen from Sadie's journey.
I think the big thing is that she's been very communicative, like communicates really well with us, and asks for support or asks questions when she needs it. But she's also gotten her team extremely immersed into the program. And I think that's why she's really seen that level up of her manager. So even her manager has been going through her supervisor training, and she took on the initiative to implement the one-on-one meetings with the staff, which has helped elevate her staff, which has been awesome. But I also want to touch on that Sadie and her manager have both been prioritizing being able to celebrate their success so far. So they are starting to plan those vacations and take that time away, which is amazing because a lot of us don't take that time and take that moment to celebrate. So they've been really great at that.
Yeah. Oh, that is amazing. That's amazing. So Sadie, tell me what's next now that this has happened. What are your next goals? What are the next big things that you're looking to accomplish?
Brand new to both of you, and I just spoke to Camille yesterday. So actually, I'm looking at buying my own building now.
Okay. Oh man, like, do you think that
Cool.
would have ever been possible, or that you would have ever considered that 8 months ago?
I definitely would have considered it, but I don't think it would have been possible. And I think it would have ended up being a giant disaster trying to actually implement it.
Okay. Oh man, that is huge. This is the first time I'm hearing this. So I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Awesome. And so I want to ask you one last question. Is that someone sitting here watching this feeling like, hey, I'm not making any money, my sales aren't where they want to, my business isn't functioning right. I've heard this guy talk all this crap, and like, I don't know if I believe it, and I can't even afford to potentially get help, because that's what a lot of people think, right? So what would you say to someone that's in those shoes, in the same shoes that you were 8 months ago?
It is worth every penny, and it is worth every minute of the extra training modules that you watch and the extra time you take to develop your procedures and get everything in the correct order and get the marketing in order. It is worth all of it. There's been some late nights after work of trying to get through all the modules that you guys wanted us to watch, but it's so worth it, and it has changed my mindset from a business owner should be in their business 80 hours a week, and if they're not, there's something wrong, to 40 hours taking vacations and having a successful business.
Yeah. And having more money in the bank account at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing.
I mean, it's so counterintuitive. People think, oh, if I worked less, I would make less. Well, in actuality, no. If you do the right things with your time, everything works out well. So Sadie, thank you so much for being here. I'm so proud to see what you've done. And I know we've had conversations throughout our times, ups and downs and all sorts of stuff. And you know what? I'm just so proud to see you finally get to where you didn't even think that you could. So I absolutely love to see that. And thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Awesome. Well, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. If you want to reach out to Sadie, I'm sure she'll probably comment on the post as well. And you can ask her all these questions. Hey, just tell me more about that. And I'm sure you'd be somewhat okay with it with all your free time now.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, guys, I have loved chatting with you again. And thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you soon.